What's up, guys and girls? Show Techno here, coming at you with 215 playing with blocks sketch practice. We are busting into Fusion, and I thought we'd start with drawing some blocks. Now, I have two different versions of the same block drawn. The first one that you're assigned. They look the same, although I do have some discrepancy here with that tab that bumps out. But the process, the first way we're going to draw this is to sketch the outer profile of the front face. So if I hit play right here, you're going to see a quick version of that. And that was pretty fast. One more time. We're going to sketch the entire outer profile, and then we're going to create a new sketch plane and add this feature on. This would be considered an additive model. We sketch this face, we extrude it out. Subtractive model can look like this. We would start with an overall block or a glass block, and then we would carve the parts away that we don't want. Overall glass block, sketch, carve away. Okay, let's do both of these now. We're going to start with what was probably considered the more proper way, which would be the sketched profile or additive model. Now, your Fusion is going to have a blank interface when you start out. I'm going to start with a new design here, so I've got a blank interface as well. And then I'm going to create a sketch. And in order to do that, I can click here to create a sketch. Think piece of paper, and I have to choose which way I want to face that piece of paper. I've got three sketch planes. This is my y-axis, x-axis, and z-axis coming out at me. I'm going to choose the axis right here between the x, y. It's just the one I go with. Click on that, and I get a flat working surface. I can zoom in and out, and at this point I should tell you, if you do not have a mouse, you are a trackpad editor, and that should bring academic shame to your village because it's an inferior way of modeling. Get a mouse, okay? If you have to borrow one from us, the scroll wheel allows me to do this, which is fantastic. I can roll in and out. If I push down on the scroll wheel as a button, I can recenter my window. Also beautiful. Let's begin. So if we take our drawing from Schoology, our worksheet here, I'm playing with blocks now. I've printed this off for you to make life easier, and I think I also have it open in Word here, so bear with me. Yes, I do. Okay. Let's see here. Let's go to 100% view, or maybe 150. Boom. And we can take a look at our first block. We know that our overall block is 4 wide plus a bump out of 0.75. But I really want to draw this profile. And it looks like it's symmetrical, meaning it has kind of a center line. So I'm going to bump up 1.5, and then I'm going to go over 1, up 1, over 2, down 1. I can see that there. Over 1. I'll draw out that entire profile. In the middle looks like it's a ½ inch. So let's see how we can do with just drawing that profile. I want to use the line tool. And the line tool comes in with the ability to snap to grid, and that snap feature is right here under sketch plate. I'm going to snap to my datum, which is a 0, 0 point, and that is a good place to start for future more complex models. Good to start in your datum. I'm going to click and go up, and I can enter in a number here, and I'm way zoomed out, so I'm going to zoom in more. That up number was 1. Zoom in some more, and then I'm going to keep drawing, and when I get that 1, I want it to snap vertical, click, and now I'm going to, without doing anything else, go over, and that should be 1 as well. It already snaps to that, and it gives me some other constraints that are called geometric constraints. We'll learn about those more later. That would be a 1. This should be an up 1, and then an over 2, and I can type in the number 2 and it jumps to that. And then click, down 1. Notice it grabs, these are perpendicular corners. It also picks up these lines over here, and it'll snap in. Over 1, down, over 0.5, up 0.5, I believe, all the way over 0.5. So my difference there would be 3 inches, down. And when I snap here, really important, I'm going to get the interior of this to change color if I have a closed profile. So if I zoom in on that, it's slightly different. It's got these smaller grids in it, which is good. That means I've got a profile I can extrude. Now I want to go check my work and make sure that I'm right on these dimensions. No, I'm not. This is 1.5 up. one over, one up. Looks like that's the only mistake that I made. Good news in Fusion is I can fix that. I'm going to hit escape right now. This is important. I'm in the line tool, so I want to escape out into my finder tool. Just a general pointer, and I can double click on this, change this to 1.5, enter, and I can double click on the other dimension, or if I don't have a dimension here, which I do not, then I can dekey this, give it a 1.5 for dimension. Went the wrong way. I'm going to change this to 1. This to 1, and I brought it back into shape. Now that was a kind of a mess, and if I didn't know which way I was going, I could really get myself in trouble there fast. Like, I'm adding dimensions in. Some of these have dimensions already. Some of them needed dimensions for whatever reason. Because I didn't enter numbers in, apparently it didn't stick. I could dimension this as well as 3, and these as 0.5. just to make sure they are there. So that was the D key for dimension. We'll get into that more in a little bit. How do I take this from a one-dimensional flat object into a three-dimensional shape? I'm going to use the extrude feature. So in order to do that, I can either finish the sketch and extrude it, or I can actually extrude right out of sketch window 2. For the sake of seeing the other tools, I'm going to finish this sketch. I'm going to go under create and choose extrude. And extrude is that ability, it's like when you had a Play-Doh machine and you could push different profiles through an opening. It would allow you to see the shape of the profile coming out. So I'm going to choose extrude, and it's like, oh, what do you want to extrude? Well, the only profile I have right here, I'm going to select this, and I want to extrude it the depth of the block, which is 2.5. And I'll type in 2.5 right away, enter, and now I've got my block here. I can zoom in and out, recenter that. The only thing I have left to do is put this shelf on the side. My view cube here, this is new to us. I can go to front view. This would be like front orthographic view. I can click on the upper right hand corner and go to isometric view. Allows me to see more faces easily, and I'm zooming in and out, pushing down on that scroll wheel in order to recenter it. Okay, cool thing about Fusion, I could go back into my sketch plane at any time, or my sketch, double click on that, and that enters me back into that sketch world. Go, there we go. So if I had to correct or change numbers, I could do that at this point. Let's say I wanted to make this 4. It's going to really mess it up because everything else is constrained here. So it's like, oh, I'll push that over because I can still go that way. So I can change that. If I finish the sketch, it's going to alter my model to match. Cool feature. All right, I'm going to undo that, undo, finish sketch, back to normal. If I want to build on a surface, that would be additive modeling. I can select that surface. I can create a sketch on that surface because I want to build out this bump out right here. Okay. And that is 1.5 wide. It is a ½ inch in from the edge, and it's 3/4 of an inch from the top of this edge right here. See if I can remember all that. I want to create a sketch there first of all. I've selected it. I'm going to sketch on that face. It's going to turn and look at me. I'm going to use the rectangle tool. Now right away I'm not going to locate this. I'm just going to click and drag the rectangle. I know that this number for the thickness needs to be 0.25. And for the height, if I tab on my keyboard, I'm going to put 1.5 for the depth of it, and I'm going to enter that. Now I have the sizing of that. Is that even right? 1.5, 0.25 for thickness. That's correct. But I don't have it located. I have it sized, but I don't have it located. So I'm going to again hit the D key on the keyboard for dimension. I'm going to select this edge and the top edge right here of that flat and drag out. And that number, if you remember, was 0.75 or 3/4 of an inch. And the other one I have to dimension is from this edge of the tab to the front edge, and that was 0.5, I believe. If I look at, yeah, that should center it, 0.5. Enter. Now I have this tab dimensioned and located. And I'll show you this as a little bit different option. You can hit the E key for extrude right now, and it's like, oh, do you want to extrude in sketch mode? Yes. I want to select this profile. I could also select this. They're separate. I want to select this tab, and I want to pull it out whatever the depth was. Let's see here. 0.75. 0.75. Enter. And now I have a completed block. Now it's untitled, so let's just talk about saving here. We're going to click the save icon, and it asks us, well, where do you want to save it? Well, I've already got a project called Playing with Blocks, but I'd like you to create a new project. Notice I have a lot of projects. You're going to create a new project, call it Playing with Blocks, and then inside that, this would be 2_part_playing_with_blocks. Detailed name, but good habit, okay, to get into. I'm going to click Save. It's going to go into my Playing with Blocks folder, and I'm done. We'll take it from here later with working drawings. I'm going to pause the video and do a second version, which would be the subtractive modeling version. Sorry about the screw up on numbers right away, but I guess it was a good opportunity to see that we can alter in sketch mode. And scene.